This is section 11 of Mark Twain's Journal Writings, Volume 1, by Mark Twain. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Taken from Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, The Century, a popular quarterly magazine, January 1885, printed Jim's Investments and King Sollermun, by Mark Twain. Read by John Greenman.
Jim knowed all kinds of signs. He said he knowed most everything. I said it looked to me like all the signs was about bad luck, and so I asked him if there weren't any good luck signs. He says, "Mighty few, and they ain't no use to body. What you want to know when good luck's come for? Want to keep it off?" And he said, "If you's got hairy arms and hairy breasts, it's a sign that you're going to be rich." Well, dey's some use in a sign like dat, 'cause it's so fur ahead. You see, maybe you's got to be po' a long time first, and so you might get discouraged and kill yourself if didn't know by the sign that you're gwine to be rich by. Have you got hairy arms and a hairy breast, Jim? What's the use to ask dat question? Don't you see I has?
Well, are you rich?
No, but I been rich once, and gwine to be rich agin. Onct I had $14, but I tuck to speculatin' and got busted out.
What'd you speculate in, Jim?
Well, first I tackled stock.
What kind of stock?
Why, livestock. Cattle, you know. I put $10 in a cow, but I ain't going to risk no more money in stock. The cow up and died on my hands.
So you lost the $10?
No, I didn't lose it all. I only lost about 9 of it. I sold the hide and taller for $1.10.
You had $5.10 left? Did you speculate any more?
Yes. You know that one-legged nigger that belongs to old Mr. Bradish? Well, he sort up a bank and say anybody that put up $1 would get $4 more at the end of the year. Well, all the niggers went in, but they didn't have much. I was the only one that had much. So I stuck out for more than $4, and I said if it didn't get it, I'd start a bank myself. Well, of course that nigger wanted to keep me out of the business, 'cause he say they weren't business enough for 2 banks, so he say I could put in my $5, and he pay me $35 at the end of the year. So I done it. Then I reckoned I'd invest the $35 right off and keep things a-movin'. And there was a nigger named Bob that had ketched a wood flat, and his master didn't know it. And I bought it off him and told him to take the $35 when the end of the year come. But somebody stole the wood flat that night, and next day the one-legged nigger say the bank's busted. So they didn't none of us get no money.
What did you do with the 10 cents, Jim?
Well, I was gwine to spend it, but I had a dream, and the dream told me to give it to a nigger named Balaam. Balaam's ass, they call him for short. He's one of them chuckleheads, you know, but he's lucky, they say, and I see I weren't lucky. The dream say to let Balaam invest the 10 cents and he'd make a raise for me. Well, Balaam, he tuck the money, and when he was in church he heard the preacher say that whoever give to the poor lend to the Lord, and bound to get his money back 100 times. So Balaam he tuck and give the 10 cents to the poor, and laid low to see what was going to come of it.
Well, what did come of it, Jim?
Nothing never come of it. I couldn't manage to collect that money no way, and Balaam he couldn't. I ain't going to lend no more money down to see the security. I'm bound to getting your money back 100 times, the preacher says. If I could get the 10 cents back, I'd call it square. I'd be glad of the chance.
Well, it's all right anyway, Jim, long as you're going to be rich again some time or other.
Yes, and I's rich now, come to look at it. I owns myself, and I's worth $800. But livestock's too resky, Huck. I wished I had the $800 and somebody else had the nigger. I read considerable to Jim about kings and dukes and earls and such, and how gaudy they dressed, and how much style they put on, and called each other your Majesty, and your Grace, and your Lordship, and so on, instead of Mister. Jim's eyes bugged out, and he was interested. And he says, "I didn't know there was so many of 'em. I ain't heard 'bout none of 'em, sca'cely but old King Sollermun, unless you counts them kings that's in a pack your cards. How much do a king get?" "Get?" I says. "Why, they get $1,000 a month, if they want it. They can have just as much as they want. Everything belongs to them." "Ain't that gay? And what they got to do, Huck?" "They don't do nothing." "Why, how you talk! They just set around." "No, is that so?" "Course it is. They just set around, except maybe when there's war. Then they go to the war. But other times they just lazy around, or go hawking. Just hawking and Shh! Do you hear a noise?" We skipped out and looked. But it weren't nothing but the flutter of a steamboat's wheel away down coming around the point. So we come back. "Yes," says I, "and other times when things is dull they fuss with the Parlyment, and if everybody don't get just so, he whacks their heads off. But mostly they hang around the harem." "Round the which?" "Harem." "What's the harem?" "The place where he keeps his wives. Don't you know about the harem? Solomon had one. He had about 1,000,000 wives." "Why, yes, that's so. I done forgot it. A harem's a bo'din house, I reckon. Most likely they has rackety times in de nursery, and I reckon de wives quarrels considerable, and dat creased the racket. Yet they say Solomon de wisest man that ever live." "I don't take no stock in dat." "Because why? Would a wise man want to live in the midst of such a blim-blamming all the time? No, 'deed he wouldn't. A wise man 'd take and build a biler factory, and then he could shut down the biler factory when he want to rest." "Well, but he was the wisest man, anyway, because the widow she told me so, her own self." "I don't care what de widder say. He warn't no wise man, nuther. He had some of de dat fetches ways I ever see. Does you know 'bout dat child dat he was gwine to chop in two?" "Yes, the widow told me all about it." "Well, den, warn't dat de beatin'est notion in de world? You just take and look at it a minute. Dar's de stump, dah, that's one er de women. Here's you, that's de other one. It's Sollermun. And dish yer dollar bill's de child. Before'n you claims it, what does I do? Does I shin around 'mongst de neighbors and find out which un you de bill do belong to, and then hand it over to the right one, all safe and sound, the way that anybody that had any gumption would? No, I take and whack de bill in two, and give half on it to you and the other half to the other woman. That's the way Solomon was gwine to do with the child. Now, I want to ask you, what's the use ter to half a bill? Can't buy nuffin with it. And what's the use of half a child? I wouldn't give dern for 1,000,000 of 'em. But hang it, Jim, you've clean missed the point. Blame it, you've missed it 1,000 mile. Who, me? Go along. Don't talk to me 'bout your pants. I reckon I knows sense when I sees it, and dey ain't no sense in sich doin's as dat. Dispute warn't 'bout half a child, dispute was 'bout a whole child. And a man that think he can settle a spute 'bout a whole child with a half a child don't know enough to come in out in the rain. Don't talk to me 'bout Solomon, Huck. I knows him by de back. But I tell you, you don't get the point. Blame the pint. I reckon I knows what I knows, and mind you, de real pint is down furder. It's down deeper. It lays in de way Sollermun was raised. You take a man dat's got only 1 or 2 chillen. Is dat man gwine to be wasteful of chillen? No, he ain't. He can't 'ford it. He knows how to value 'em. But you take a man dat's got about 5,000,000 chillen running round the house, and it's different. He as soon chop a child in two as a cat. Dey's plenty mo'. A child or two, more or less, warn't no consequence to Solomon, dad fetch him.
End of Jim's Investments and King Sollermun, by Mark Twain. And end of Mark Twain's Journal Writings, Volume 1. Read by John Greenman.